call it a comeback. Hello guys, how are you today? My name is David Franco from defran.co/ask. If that URL sounds familiar, well, it's probably because you've been watching me for a while. And for that, I'm grateful. Thank you so much. So yes, I'm bringing back my Q&A videos where basically you ask questions and I answer those questions on video. And of course, I give you a shout out in return with any link of your choice. So please send in those questions right below. My brand new subreddit is now live. The more questions I can get, the more content I can create. It's a win-win. Seriously guys, I want to make a comeback on YouTube. I want to start creating a lot of content again, but that's only going to happen with your participation. So please post those questions. Okay, so jumping right into it, today's question comes from CampWise05, and he says, or she, you never know, what is your opinion on the Switch Lite and the new Switch? I'm so glad you asked this because I've been meaning to talk about this for quite a while, and I have a little bit to say. Because, well, I am a Switch owner. I'm a big gamer. I play video games pretty much every day of my life. It's just important to me. So, yeah, I just want to get my opinion. But to start off, let me break down some stats. What are the differences between the Switch version 2, not the original Switch, the Switch version 2, and the Switch Lite? Let's jump into it. Okay, so the Switch version 2 has a 6.2-inch 720p display. Not 1080p, but hey, it's better than nothing, right? I mean, it's certainly better than 480p. You're getting up to 9 hours of battery life. Not bad if you ask me. 32 gigabytes of internal storage, which of course is expandable using the microSD slot. It is indeed compatible with all games, which sounds ridiculous, you know. Yeah, the fact that I even have to say that is kind of weird. I'll talk about that in a bit, I promise. The Joy-Con are detachable, which is kind of a big deal. It does have HD Rumble support. Now, HD Rumble might not be important to most people, but for someone like me who has always been obsessed with the Rumble pack, you know, the one that came with Star Fox 64, I will never forget how awesome it felt to actually, like, you know, feel the game that I was playing. A really, really cool feeling. And HD Rumble is no different. Nintendo has been doing some fascinating things. Also, the Switch V2 does have a kickstand included, which is pretty cool for those mobile gamers who just want to sit it down on a desk, sit it down on the airplane, the bus, whatever, and just game. And it does weigh 0.88 pounds. So the Switch version 2 is still pretty light. I mean, it's less than a pound. That's nothing. And finally, it does retail for $300. Okay, jumping into the Switch Lite side of things. What's it got to offer that the Switch V2 does not? Well, I'll say this right off the bat. Not much, besides portability. I'll talk about that in a moment. So starting out, we have a 5.5-inch 720p display. So it's the same resolution as a Switch V2, but obviously a little smaller. Up to 7 hours of battery life. The same exact internal storage, 32 gigabytes, which again is expandable using the microSD slot. Okay, so this is where things get really interesting. The Switch Lite is only compatible with games that support handheld mode. That could be a deal breaker for many, many gamers, especially for someone like myself. So this means that the Switch Lite does not support TV mode. The Joy-Con are not detachable, meaning you cannot further customize your Switch Lite after you purchase it, at least from a Joy-Con perspective. HD Rumble support is not present. The kickstand is not included. It does weigh 0.61 pounds. I mean, it's physically smaller, so obviously it's going to be somewhat significantly lighter than the Switch V2. And perhaps the best feature of all, it's $100 less than the Switch V2, meaning it sells for just $200. I mean, I paid more than that for this camera. So, just saying. Okay, so with all that said, what are my thoughts on the Switch V2 versus the Switch Lite? I mean, obviously I'm a Switch owner. I've made that clear. I do not have the Switch Lite in my hands. I mean, that's pretty obvious. But yeah, going by the stats and reviews I've seen online, the Switch Lite seems decent, but as I expected, you know, leading up to the announcement of the Switch Lite, it's basically the Switch experience, but watered down. I mean, if you truly want the full Switch experience, I say just stick with the Switch version 1 even, or the version 2. You quite literally cannot remove the Joy-Con from the Switch Lite. And yeah, to most people that might not be a big deal, but to me, It is. I like customizing my Switch. I like the ability to swap out the Joy-Con on a moment's notice. Okay, so yeah, my Switch is docked for the most part, but even then, if I do want to switch out the Joy-Con, I can. And speaking of the dock, perhaps the biggest deal breaker for me is the fact that the Switch Lite does not support TV mode. I'll say that one more time. It does not support TV mode. This means that you quite literally cannot dock the Switch Lite and play games on your TV. It's kind of a big deal, guys. That's a big deal, and it kind of defeats the whole purpose of the Switch. So I'll just say this. If you're looking for a truly portable experience and you very rarely want to play your Switch on the TV, then yeah, the Switch Lite could be perfect for you. I mean, it's physically smaller. Battery life is decent. I mean, 7 hours I think is enough on a single charge. And well, you're just getting an overall smaller, more portable package. But even then, is the original Switch that large? Is it too big to bring around? In my opinion, no. You put it in a decent case, unlike the case I use right below on Amazon, and you're on your way. You're all set. Your Switch is protected, and when you do want to play it, you take it out of the case and play it. I mean, it's not like you have to put the Switch into your pocket. So yeah, that's just my opinion. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the Switch Lite. If anything, the Switch Lite is a great extension of your existing Switch experience. So in other words, if you're like me and you have the Switch ready and you're looking for an even more portable Switch and you have the money to spare, then sure, go for the Switch Lite. But if the Switch Lite is going to be your only Switch console for, the next 1 to 3 years, then I have to say be careful, because don't forget, it's not compatible with all games. I mean, the fact that you can't play all games, that's kind of a big deal, guys. I mean, that's a huge deal. You don't want to buy the Switch Lite and then a game comes out in 2 years and, find out you're like, whoa, my Switch Lite can't even play this game because the Switch Lite does not support TV mode. So just saying, be careful. Buy the Switch Lite with realistic expectations in mind. So guys, what are your thoughts on the Switch Lite? Let me know right below. Are you buying one? Do you hope to buy one? Or are you like me and you're perfectly happy with the first Switch or even the Switch V2 and you prefer to game on the TV? Because I will say, I don't really game portably that often. I just don't. I mean, I'm mostly a PC gamer, and if I do play my console games, then I'm going to play them on my PC setup via my capture card and stream them on Twitch or a mixer. So guys, there you go. My thoughts on the Switch Lite and the Switch V2. If you're interested in both models or either one, they are linked right below on Amazon. And of course, once again, shout out to CampWise05 for posting your question on the subreddit. I appreciate it. The more questions, the better, guys. So get posting. Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace.